Hello. Johnson and Wilcox. Hetherington Smythe, here. Can I speak to Peter Wilcox? Hello Peter, Marcus here. Thank you for confirming the changes. I received your notification yesterday. Perfect. Super. By bloodline only. Ever so grateful to you Peter. Thanks for everything. Goodbye. That will make a surprise birthday present for someone. Oh, for heaven's sake, Rowbottom. Hurry yourself up. There is so much to do, and you haven't done it yet. I don't pay you to stand about, just looking. Do something, man.
But, Sir Marcus, what would you like me to do?
Do you really have to ask me? Use your initiative, man. The birthday celebrations are tomorrow night. 55A. Even if I don't look a day over 40. And as my butler, I expect you to be, well, in control, at the helm, so to speak.
Well, you certainly aren't, are you? Yes, Sir Marcus, I'll check with Lady Cynthia.
Ah, here you are, Rowbottom, you poor old thing. Is Sir Marcus being beastly to you again? Now, let me see.
The food has been organized and the drinks have arrived, your ladyship. We are expecting about 45 guests.
45 guests at Trumpington Manor. That must be most of the village. Well, I sincerely hope you haven't invited any riffraff.
No, of course not, dear.
And where is that brother of mine? Nigel. He said he would pop in this morning, before going off to the Commons.
Well, I'm sure he'll be here, soon. He's probably been held up, that's all.
Held up. That's the trouble with the modern world. Too many unreliable sorts. By the way, I can't find my mobile phone. Have you seen it, Cynthia?
No dear, of course not. Now, why don't you try and relax? You're probably a little overwrought, with all the birthday preparations.
Birthday preparations? Oh no, Cynthia, they are the least of my worries. Rowbottom, did you remember to organize the video?
The video, Sir Marcus?
Yes, of course the video. You know that I want this birthday party, on film. I want to preserve the whole event, for posterity.
No problem, Sir Marcus. I'll see that it's all done. I must go and check on one or two final details.
I am so sorry, my dear. I really don't know what's the matter with me. I've been so worried lately, about the estate. We just seem to be getting further and further into debt. And I can't see a way out of this mess.
What about the stocks and shares you're always on about? Surely we could cash some in?
Most of them are of little or no value, and with the insurance policy that we have, I would be better off dead than alive.
Marcus, please don't talk like that. We'll manage, somehow. Where is Rowbottom? Oh, I'll go. That must be Nigel. Nothing like your brother to cheer you up.
Hello, old boy. How are you keeping? Thought I would pop in for a quick sherry on my way down to Westminster to see that everything was okay at the baronial homestead. Hey, what's the matter? Come on, spill the beans. Not another hangover.
For goodness sake, Nigel. Would you please make an effort not to be so damn cheerful all the time? Especially when you can see that a chap's not feeling too clever. Cynthia, do you happen to know where that damn fool Rowbottom has got to?
Now, where did I put the guest list? I think Rowbottom must have it. Won't be a tick, dear.
A fine pair we make, eh, Nigel? But it's good that you visit us at home now.
Yes, I've stayed away far too long.
I don't think you know how much I have missed our friendship. You remember the things we got up to as kids? Those tricks we played on the servants.
Remember Cook's reaction when she discovered that her precious plum pudding had been laced with cleaning powder?
How could I ever forget? That was you, all right, forever Nigel the prankster. So, how are things? According to the Telegraph this morning, you've got an important vote tonight.
Important vote? Half, apparently. Brussels wants us to standardise the amount of polyester used in British shirts.
What?
Yes. And the damned Labour lot have agreed that it's a good idea. Something to do with losing textile jobs in the north of England.
Ridiculous.
Absolutely. Who gives a damn about the north of England, anyway?
Good morning, Mr. Nigel.
Well, talk of the devil. Here is the man himself, happy with your lot in life, Rowbottom.
Yes, sir. And are we keeping well, sir?
Thank you for asking. What is that you have there, Rowbottom? Not a love letter from one of the village girls, I hope.
Don't be such a tease, Nigel.
No, sir. Just something for the party.
Well, come on then, Rowbottom. Why be so secretive?
Just something to add a little spice to the birthday party, sir.
Add a little spice? You are not kidding. Have you seen this, Marcus? It's a copy of the family curse.
How did you come by this, Rowbottom?
I was given it by her ladyship, sir.
Come on, Rowbottom. You persuaded me to give it to you. You thought it might add to the atmosphere.
Add to the atmosphere. You are not joking, are you? Do you realize how much trouble this has caused in the past? Apparently it resulted in the death of my great-great-grandfather.
Don't be so melodramatic, dear. You know how fascinated the locals are by history and intrigue. It's a shame to keep these things hidden. To the first. That must be you, Marcus. A title, yes, but fear the worst. Oh dear. But to the second, Banquo's fate. A title, no, but children great.
Oh well, looks as though you are about to sire a whole dynasty, Nigel. Pity you haven't started yet.
You don't know that, Marcus.
Sticking up for my little brother, are we now? Just like old times, don't you think?
Oh, come on now, Marcus. There is no need for that.
Isn't there, Nigel? You have an affair with my wife and then tell me it's all over. A couple of years later, you discover that you are missing out on life here. So you decide to come back and try to patch things up.
Oh, Marcus, that was years ago.
It might have been years ago, for you, Cynthia. But for me, it was just like yesterday.
I'll get it, Rowbottom. Trumpington Manor? You want to speak to whom? Tom Boter. Could you spell that for me, please? Tombowtor. No, I'm sorry, there's no one of that name here. You must have the wrong number. Goodbye. Tom Boater? I'm sure I've heard that name somewhere before.
Damned British Telecom. Can't even make a correct connection these days.
No, Sir Marcus, but someone in this room may have done.
Look, Marcus, old boy, what about that drink?
Don't you try and patronize me, Nigel. Rowbottom, come with me, now. It's time we went and checked up on Caroline Shepherd. See if she has managed to organize those villagers. See you later, my dear. Have an exciting time at the Commons, Nigel. If I don't see you again before that vote of yours.
Goodbye, dear.
Oh, and by the way, you will leave a drop of whiskey for me, won't you? And if Bryony arrives, tell her I will be back soon.
Goodbye, Marcus.
Bye.
"5 years, and he still hasn't forgiven us, Cynthia."
Be realistic, Nigel, for goodness sake. He's a very proud and honourable man.
Yes, I know, Cynthia, my love, but he's always been like that, quick to take offence when he's the wounded party, but pretty damn slow to admit it when he's the one at fault.
Oh, come on, sweetheart. I sometimes think that I must be the biggest fool in the world. Not content to love one man and marry his brother, I allow myself to have my lover's child and then pretend to the whole world and my husband that the child is his.
Brian is a beautiful girl, Cynthia, and I am very proud of her, as you know, and one day she's going to do something really worthwhile with her life and not waste it like I have.
Don't be so ridiculous, Nigel. You are a respected member of Parliament.
No, darling, a member of Parliament I may be, but any respect I might have had has dwindled as my debts have increased.
Oh, come on, my darling. You are beginning to remind me too much of Marcus.
And that would never do, would it?
Goodness me, that must be Bryony. Unless Marcus has forgotten something.
Or trying to catch us out.
Don't worry about that, Nigel. I'm sure he thinks that those flames have long since died away. All right, I'm coming. If there's one thing that Bryony inherited from your side of the family, Nigel, it's her complete lack of patience. Oh, hello, Bryony darling. And how is Cambridge?
Wonderful, Mummy, just wonderful, Uncle Nigel. I mean, oh, this is silly. You know, I don't think I'll ever be able to call you Daddy.
Well, you know, that's probably not a bad thing, Bryony, darling. Lovely to see you again.
What about your luggage, dear?
I had the taxi driver bring it in. Rowbottom can take it upstairs. By the way, where is Rowbottom?
Gone into the village with your father. Come on, Bryony, sit yourself down.
You know, Mummy, it's a strange coincidence, but someone called Arnold Rowbottom won our college prize for English in 1979. It couldn't have been the same one, by any chance.
Heaven forbid. Can you imagine a world peopled by Arnold Rowbottoms?
Can I get a drink for you, Sir Marcus? Or would you prefer me to act as your doormat?
Now then, Bryony, have you had a chance to do much drama at college?
A fair amount. I've been working backstage on The Real Inspector Hound.
Backstage? I'm amazed you're not acting on stage, dear.
Well, that's just it, Mother. I'm not acting because I want to take a year off. It will give me a chance to work in rep, except of course, Daddy says no.
I'm afraid that is just typical of your father, Bryony.
Yes, Mother, a mean, small-minded bigot. You don't know how much I hate him. Sometimes he makes me so angry that I could kill him. Uncle Nigel, why don't you marry Mummy? There's still time. you know.
But sadly, dear, not the opportunity.
But why don't you try and make the opportunity?
Don't be so silly, Bryony. Anyway, it's nearly time for my favorite TV serial. I will take the opportunity to watch Dukes and Duchesses while Marcus is out. He's furious if he ever sees it on. Says it's completely unrealistic. But it's too damn realistic, especially the overbearing Duke Marcus character.
And Rowbottom is a great fan of the program, isn't he?
That is half the problem. Rowbottom will be watching it in his room, with the volume turned right up, guffawing away like mad. Marcus can hear him, and gets into one of his terrible moods, again. It's uncanny, though.
What do you mean, Mummy?
Well, Rowbottom has an uncanny knack of knowing what's going to happen in the next episode, almost as if he had seen the script beforehand. And you know what? I'm certain half the reason he laughs so loudly is to irritate Marcus. Somehow, it's his way of taking revenge.
As long as he doesn't do anything more serious. Good grief, look at the time. I'm going to miss my train if I don't get to move on. I'll be back tomorrow evening, if not sooner.
Wait a moment, Uncle Nigel. Mummy, about this evening. Can you?
You want me to make sure that the burglar alarm is switched off, so that Stephen Goodrich can do his climbing act and spend a precious moment?
Oh Mummy, I'd be ever so grateful. You know how much Father hates him. If he ever found out he—
I must get going, you know.
Yes, of course, dear. And what time do you want it switched off tonight, Bryony?
Well, the pub closes at 10:30, so 10:40 will be fine.
The things I do for you. All right, consider it done.
Oh Mummy, you are wonderful.
Yes, I agree. You are both wonderful, Bryony, but I've got to go. Now. Goodbye, darling. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Would you like a drink, Bryony dear?
Yes please, Mummy, a small sherry.
That'll be Marcus and Rowbottom back at last. I hope everything's alright for tomorrow's birthday party. I'll have to watch the omnibus edition of Dukes and Duchesses on Sunday.
Hello, my dear.
Oh. You've bought dear Caroline, too. Welcome. Do come through. This is my daughter Bryony.
Oh, hello.
Hello, Bryony.
Caroline, please sit yourself down.
I suppose Nigel's been at the whiskey again. Bryony darling, you're here. Lovely to see you again, my dear. You haven't brought that wretched Goodrich fellow with you, have you?
Oh Daddy.
Caroline is going to help us sort things out for tomorrow.
Miss Bryony. The taxi driver said you dropped this.
Thank you, Rowbottom. How very thoughtful.
Rather cold out today, isn't it, Caroline?
I was just saying that to Marcus.
And what do they say about the weather? It never rains but it pours. I am sure you would agree with that, Miss Bryony.
Oh, yes.
Now let me tell you about the plans for tomorrow. As you know, the villagers were going to put on a murder mystery play as part of the birthday celebrations. Just reading from scripts, you know. But there's been a whole host of problems, and this is very embarrassing.
Oh, for goodness sake. Spit it out, woman.
So, if you want to have the play, we are going to have to do it ourselves.
This is all rather last minute, isn't it?
Well, I am volunteering myself to play the part of the local squire. Murdered for his wealth, in the second act. That won't be too difficult.
Of course, dear. Except that you're not going to die.
Would you care that much, Cynthia?
I think I'd better go and help Bryony unpack. Come along, dear Rowbottom. The cases, please.
Yes, my lady.
I don't know why, Caroline, but whenever Cynthia and I are together these days, it always ends up in an argument.
Poor old Marcus. You were the one who wanted to marry Cynthia. You were the one who put respectability first. And now that you have everything, you find your life is empty. Well, bad luck, Marcus.
But Caroline, sweetheart,
And what am I left with? Yes, as a female chief inspector in the police force, I am a success in the public world. But I've worked hard for it, and with little or no help from you.
but Caroline, how many times have we been through this? Yes, I loved you.
Yes, Marcus, I know that.
And I still love you. You know that, too.
But you have never loved me as much as you love yourself, your position, and the fawning admiration of those about you.
Thank you, Caroline. Do help yourself to a drink before you go up. I am going to spend some time with my daughter.
Well, Sir Marcus Hetherington Smythe, I'm not a detective for nothing. A little key copying never went amiss. And what have we here? A redrafted will. So that's what he intends, the dirty old dog.
Can I help you at all, Miss Shepherd?
Oh. No. Oh. I must go upstairs.
Well, what a wily old bird you turned out to be. But what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Yes, to serve you all my days, but to serve myself as well. We are all going to read about you very soon, Miss Shepherd, in the news of the world. Trumpington Hall. Yes, Mr. Nigel. Yes, I will inform Lady Cynthia that you won't be returning this evening. The Commons will be sitting late and you are staying for the vote. I'm sorry, sir, I didn't quite catch that. Must be a bad line.
Who is that, Rowbottom?
It's Mr. Nigel, Lady Cynthia. He says he won't be back this evening. He would like to speak to you.
Oh, for goodness sake. No, Rowbottom, tell him to sort himself out. Typical of Nigel. Leaving everything for me to organize, as usual. And tell him not to be late tomorrow.
Her ladyship has asked me to pass on some information. She will see you tomorrow, Mr. Nigel, and you're not to be late. Mr. Nigel insists, Lady Cynthia. He says it's very urgent.
No, Rowbottom, he must sort himself out. I am sure that he is more than capable.
I'm afraid Lady Cynthia is unable to come to the phone, sir. Thank you very much for your comment, sir. Goodbye. Perhaps I could be of some assistance to you, your ladyship.
Yes, Rowbottom, take this nightcap up to Sir Marcus.
Yes, me lady.
And regarding the sleeping arrangements, Caroline will be staying, so we will put her in the bedroom next to Bryony. I shall sleep in my bedroom, and Sir Marcus will remain in his.
I shall see to it at once, me lady.
Right then, Rowbottom. Let's make sure that everything is sorted out.
I think a little water will be needed to sort out this deed.
Who the hell is that out there? Good grief. I hope it's not that idiot boyfriend, Goodrich. I think I must have eaten something. What is this? Murder on the Orient Express. Who reads this rubbish? Very strange. Someone's put it in the wrong cover. I had better listen to the news.
And finally, the main points of the news again. This evening, the House of Commons rejected by just 2 votes the EU proposal to regulate the polyester content in British shirts, thus avoiding the loss of hundreds of jobs in the north of England. The vote took place at 10:45 this evening, but the Conservative majority of 2 came as a surprise as Conservative MP.
At least Nigel will be pleased with himself. Time for me to be in bed.